Hello. What we can say? Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. Amazing first half, amazing team performance, amazing result, to be honest, as well, being 2-1 up. Not gonna lie, quite a bit ruined by the second half. That is all I can say, to be honest, because let's be real, we should have won the game. They were there for the taking, and we should have won the game. Liverpool were there for the taking, we just didn't take our chances, and in second half, basically, for some weird reason, we decided to sit back. And thus, as a result, it gave them time to try and do something against us, to try and come and everything. It was actually kinda embarrassing. Big up Nathan in the chat, big up. Big up Nathan in the chat, and yeah, it is actually kinda yikes to say the least. But we're gonna go through this, I guess, step by step, and we're gonna talk about the team performance and everything. But 2-2 at the end, I'm not gonna lie, feels very underwhelming. Based on how we played in the first half, based on how the game went, how everything was going, we should have scored one more at least, and we should have won the game. First half was great. Why in the second half we decided to sit back a bit more, I have no idea. Because Liverpool didn't do anything special today. They went nothing special, and we should have put them to the sword, as they say, and we should have won the game. There is no argument about that. They were there for the taking quite evidently, but Arsenal just didn't manage to do it. And that is what is hurting me after today, especially. I'm very happy that Arteta promised us that the team will be flying, and in the first half we fully saw that. The thing is though, in my opinion, we should have won the game. I'm not saying we deserve the win or anything, but for me, the first half showed that we can go toe-to-toe with them. It showed that we can create and we can score. But in the end, for me, the biggest issue was the second half. Because in the second half, we decided to sit back and wait. And sooner or later, something started to get going wrong because Gabriel got injured. Who knows how long he will now be out for. Kivior comes on, okay, we look somewhat solid. Then Timber gets to force subbed off. And of course, he decides to take off Bukayo Saka at some level, at some point as well. Obviously, he just come back from injury, so it is what it is. Timber as well, most likely due to injury, was cramping up. But yeah, Timber was locking Salah up left, right, and center. If he wasn't get subbed off, I have no shadow of a doubt in my mind that Salah doesn't get that chance. Biggest question is, when they scored the second goal, what was Kivior doing? With that over-the-top ball, why wasn't he tracking back? Where did he go? It felt like he got lost in the matrix in that cross, and it was insane. I'm not gonna lie, it was absolutely shocking. On top of that, why the hell you did not sub off Kai Havertz? That for me is the biggest question to Mikel Arteta. Why Kai Havertz was playing the full 90? He was arguably the worst performer today, by a mile, to be honest, as well. I would say the two worst in the team were Havertz and Trossard. The both which just came back from injury. Well, yikes. Martinelli as well. He got little broed by Konate. And when he got the ball, the deeper we got in the game, the more and more it looked like he's afraid of him. He was afraid to take him on. He was afraid to try to dribble past him. He instantly passed it back. He got shoved off the ball too easily. It was genuinely a very rough watch. But yeah, we're going to talk about players and everything. I'm happy with the first half. With the second half, not so much. Let's just say that. Result overall decent given our situation. At the same time, they were for the taking. We could have won the game. I'm just gonna put it that way. The way we played in the first half, it had all the markings of the fact that we can win against them. We can take the game to them. We can score the third, and we can finish them off. But we decided to sit back and did nothing. That's exactly, and that's why I'm saying we should have won. We should have won the game. It was there for the taking. Especially given the fact that in second half, our first shot on target was in like 86th, 87th minute. Like, that just shows how shocking we were in the second half. Yes, we were shutting up shop, parking the bus, but no thank you. Yeah, Timber locked up Salah, exactly. He locked up Salah. That was one of the massive ones. We need a left winger and a striker, period. We need Martinelli at the moment can be a backup for all I care. Get us a proper left winger who can play there. Exactly. Havertz was absolutely poor. Partey as well, he surprised me as a right back. Not gonna lie, against Diaz especially, he was rock solid to be honest. Quite rock solid. Williams and Gyökeres. That's about 200 million already there. Another goal conceded from corners. Havertz, Martinelli. To be honest, shocking defending on that corner. And even more shocking defending, obviously, on that second goal we conceded. Those two defenders didn't go off instantly. It's not like they went off in the 45th minute at halftime. Like, it was different. We were sitting back also before that. We were legitimately sitting back even before they went off. Before they got injured, because where are they? Where is it? Arsenal versus Liverpool. I forgot. 54th minute Kivior came on. So in the 10 minutes we already were there, we were sitting back. It just wasn't that alone. It were already those 10 minutes. And we still could have gone forward with Kivior because they didn't do anything special whilst Kivior was there. That was the big thing. Our issues started to come in a way when Yuri and Timber came off and Salah got open space where to run, when to make runs, and Skelly had to kind of cover him, and our Kivior also kind of had to lock on that position. So that for me was the big thing. We could have gone for it. We just didn't. That's simply as that. We just could have gone for the game, could have gone for everything, and we just didn't, in my opinion. But overall, there's never a reason to sit back at home. That's the thing. We at home there. I didn't expect that. I was expecting that in instance that we had a red card, maybe then against Liverpool, maybe try hit them on counters. But based on the first half, what we saw specifically in the first half, I didn't expect the second half be this way one bit. That is the big thing for me. I expected something of more in the second half to try and score the third goal. Sorry. Because Liverpool in the second half also didn't do anything. They didn't do anything special. Only reason why they will have more possession, more passes, more crosses, maybe a few more shots was because we sat back. If we tried to play like we did in the first half, 100% it would have been a whole different story. We just decided to sit back. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I'm fuming at the moment as well with that draw. And that just shows how we played in the first half. I'm fuming about the second half performance in general. Well, yeah, you called it a draw. I said it will be 2-1 Arsenal. And to be honest, it should have been 2-1 Arsenal. Because what Kivior did in that over-the-top ball, I'm still confused. Because legitimately, the ball goes and he just goes somewhere. He disappears. And then Ben White has to overcommit. Then everyone has to track back. And if Gabriel doesn't get injured, Kivior, he does make that mistake, let's be real. If Gabriel doesn't get injured, more chances than not we win this game, obviously. But the injuries, of course, are part of the game. The biggest issue is how long Gabriel will be out for now. Because this is not a good thing. Obviously, good thing is that Saliba is not back for the next game. But this now raises the big question, who's going to play the left center back role? Who's going to play the left center back role against Newcastle? Because against Preston, I don't say I don't care, but it shouldn't be an issue. Against Newcastle, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different story. We had a warning earlier when Timber got caught out and then he decided to play Highland. Well, that's the thing. And it's weird. It's very, very weird. But if we go by game, the starting 11, to be honest, surprised me quite a bit. Obviously, the big and positive news were the fact that Partey was playing at right back, but Timber was playing left back, which actually worked perfectly to a charm until he got subbed off, and Saka started. And to be honest, Saka, in my opinion, was the best player on the pitch for today's game. He came back from injury. He beautifully was cooking Robertson left, right, and center. He was causing all sorts of trouble. That pass by Ben White was exceptional for the first goal. One skill, he drops a shoulder and then slops it in near corner. Beautiful goal. 1-0 up. It's working like a charm. It was perfection. And Saka was brilliant in the first half. Amazing performance coming back from injury. And second half as well. Even though we were sitting back, he was arguably the only player who was trying to slow down the play, holding on to the ball, and play some more. Actually, hold on to the possession and play some proper passing. Proper passes give out and try to create something. He was actually doing that until he got subbed off. Rest of the players just lost the ball left, right, and center at times. We were just hoofing it up the pitch at times as well. And that also was a big issue for me. Big issue. Saka was man of the match for me today. Even if he doesn't score that goal, obviously he did, he gets man of the match for me. But overall, it's just, I don't know, it's just a very weird one. I would play Rice at center back and play Wanyeri against Newcastle. To be honest, Wanyeri came on, and he looked actually pretty decent again. We did have chances, so that's what's frustrating. No, exactly, that is the thing. We actually had chances, and you could see that with Saka in the team, defensively, we were much more dangerous. And we were creating, we had chances. It's just the fact that in this instance, 3 or 4 times, Havertz was a dumbass. He was just a donkey. The ball hits him in the face, that he takes an awful touch and everything. Havertz was by a mile the worst performer today. And you could argue that if he actually controls the ball properly in at least one of those chances, it's a goal. You could argue that if we sign a proper striker, if we have a proper striker in those positions, it's a goal. Again, it's just the fact that we have Havertz there. That is the big issue here. I've said this for a long time. I'm convinced we don't practice shooting in training. Could be no, we do. And we wouldn't get videos where Nketiah is looking like Prime R9 if we didn't practice shooting, by the way. You wouldn't say that though. We do, it's just in game situations it's completely different compared to training. And in game situations we just look absolutely shocking at times. We just either our players don't have the composure, and when they get the ball and get kind of opponents trying to smother them, they panic and they lose a focus a bit on their shot. Or what? I just have no idea. We are not shooting also from long distance. I think he had 1 or 2 shots overall from long distance. Havertz had one decent shot. If he hits that on target, it's a goal. But again, we don't shoot from long distance at all whatsoever. That is also a big thing. Even Jesus at the end, he does all the right stuff, then shoots straight at the Celtic. That is the thing. Jesus, again, you can count on Jesus missing a chance. He has done it every single game almost for Arsenal. That is also a big issue. He's not clinical enough. Neither of our strikers, so-called strikers in the team, are clinical enough when you can put the ball into their feet and trust them scoring. No, we have none of those. And that is the biggest issue. And that is the biggest difference why we tend to draw games we should be winning. We lose games we should be drawing. And games that we win 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 3-1 with mediocre or even worse performances, right? In the end, we should be scoring quite a bit of those chances because we create. We just don't have a player up top to finish them, and our bench showed that. We subbed on players, and obviously you cannot put anything on Skelly. He actually was doing pretty decently there. Obviously, his pass to Martinelli maybe was a bit under hit. Martinelli maybe could have done better with the touch because it was Skelly's pass to Martinelli and Martinelli miscontrolling the ball that led to that over the top ball which Salah scored from. But again, it's Skelly, Martinelli, then Kivior are going to Narnia or back to Poland or Bologna or wherever he decided to go back to. And then, not Bologna, Kivior was from Spezia, back to Spezia or whatever, and it just opened up gaps, and that's why we conceded. So it is what it is. Yeah, Spezia, my bad. Martinelli, I think at best he can be as a backup winger overall, in my opinion. I'm not sure he is ready to be. He just doesn't fill me with confidence anymore. I think the way Martinelli plays, he needs to play against. He is very good against teams who play high line, where he can get in behind and utilize his pace to the maximum. Similarly, like for example, Nicolas Pepe was playing at Lille when we signed him from. As soon as he came to Arsenal, we didn't play that way. We didn't play it to his strengths, and it was already shambles. And it's not a coincidence that 2.5 years ago, when we played this expansive attacking football with open spaces and lots of runs, Martinelli was thriving. He was looking incredible, fantastic. And as soon as Mikel Arteta realized that you cannot win a title like that, and he started to play very conservative, slow, like possessional type of football where he slows down the pace and everything, Martinelli disappears. It's not a coincidence. I think Martinelli's biggest issue is the system he's playing in at the moment. It's not catered to play into his strengths. And I think that is also a big issue in that regard. Next up is against Chelsea, when Arsenal needs to win to beat Man City to the title. We need to beat Newcastle first. Let's be real. We need to beat Newcastle next week. Then we play, of course, midweek against Inter Milan. We'll see how that goes. Inter Milan just won against Juventus 4-2, 5-2, I think it was. It was a nuts game, by the way. Let me check the score. Because it was happening at the same time as Arsenal was playing. So I didn't pay too much attention. See? Juventus, Inter, 4-4. It was 4-2 when I switched it off. 4-4. Inter versus Juventus. Holy moly. 8-goal game. But yeah, it is also not the best of the situations. Then we can actually focus on Chelsea. And Chelsea actually are looking very good. Chelsea today also, their midfield is starting to click into gear. Their attack is looking threatening. Defensively still a bit shaky, but overall Maresca has done a great job there. I'm not gonna lie, Maresca has done a very decent job there in my opinion. Yeah, Havertz needs to be dropped. Will he get dropped? No chance in hell. Because he is out and out our only striker, the way we are playing at least, and how Mikel Arteta sees him. 65 million still needs to get justified, and Arteta won't drop his golden boy signing, which he signed out of nowhere. And I think Havertz is one of those signings that the manager has had a big influence on himself, and he will stuck by it, and he will either win by that sword or die by that sword. And I think Havertz is one of those signings for Mikel Arteta. Look at the goal Gyökeres. Exactly. Look at the goal he scored in Champions League, which Gyökeres scored. He is actually fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. I would drop Havertz and play Trossard in the 9 and have Manieri in the 10. It could work. It just depends, again, of the opposition we play against. But overall, yeah. Havertz. I think there's a bigger chance of Arteta playing Havertz in an 8 than dropping him overall. And I don't think at the moment we can afford to drop Havertz, as wild and as mad as it sounds. Because, let's be real, we don't have other options. We can play Trossard there, but it's not going to be the same. I think we need some tall player up top in a way who can hold up the ball properly. Although, it is what it is. I think today was arguably Havertz's worst performance this season. You could argue that, ironically enough. And I think it maybe also might be something to do with his confidence that Trossard took the penalty off him against Shakhtar. Maybe if he takes that penalty, obviously he most likely is going to score. It's Havertz. He is very good at penalties. And maybe that can boost his confidence. And maybe also that is kind of playing in his mind. Yes, Spezia, my bad. Martinelli needs to be put on special first touch training. He needs first touch training, finishing training, and skills training. He needs all three of those. But I think more predominantly he needs some training in how to not rush things. Sadly, that's a trait you either have or you don't. You cannot teach that type of thing. You need to lift your head and kind of feel the game. And you need to be able to control the game whether you speed up the tempo or you slow down, whether you dribble past your opponent, whether you pass it back, what you do. And I think Martinelli doesn't have that. Because most of the time when you see Martinelli, he will have his head down and he will just drop the ball by defender and just run. Just run and hope he catches the ball before it goes out of play. Or he will cut inside and pass it back. One of the two most of the time. 4-4, that's very out of character in their previous game. Exactly, that is very out of character. 1 point Martinelli was in basically the end position trying to dribble with his head down, then puts Timber under... Exactly, that is the case. Martinelli's biggest flaw is the fact that he plays with his head down many times. That is, for me, Martinelli's one of the worst traits. Obviously, scoring goals, finishing, and maybe stuff like that is another thing. But overall, the fact that he plays quite a bit with his head down is the biggest issue for me with Martinelli. Because if you look down, you don't see the pitch. You don't see where your teammates are moving. You don't see the gaps that maybe your opposing team while defending are exposing themselves to. You just don't see that. You don't oversee the pitch. He needs to maybe do some in the dark trainings, like try to skill and dribble the ball in the dark so he actually feels the ball and then he can just look at the pitch. It's very uncharacteristic in my opinion for a Brazilian, to be honest. It doesn't sound very Brazilian, playing with your head down, focusing on your opponent's feet or the ball. I think that is also a big that's very uncharacteristic for a Brazilian in that regard. You can see the difference with Saka. He has that pause as like, yeah, he has that ability. Even though it's frustrating at times, it's at the same time very good. That he knows when to push the tempo, when to slow it down, when to take opponent, when to cut inside. He knows that. He has kind of figured it out. He has actually, despite the performances, sometimes when he's dropping stinkers, he still gets GA. And the thing is, you cannot get that GA unless you have that knowledge and you have that footballing IQ, when to have a pause and see what's developing, when to speed up things. You cannot get that if you don't have it. Palmer or Saka are the two best players in the league. I wouldn't say so, but arguably yes, I could see that argument being made. Attacking players, there we go. Now it's a bit different. For me, let's speak on some positives, because the game actually wasn't that bad. Rice's best game of the season, 100% agree. Rice actually had the game of the season so far. Cold Palmer. Merino was poor until he scored a goal, and then again. Yeah, that is the thing. Merino, it was like Declan Beckham. Bended like Declan passed, it was brilliant cross, and Merino just leaped like a salmon, like Usain Bolt, like lightning, like the Flash, just run between the lines and just headed it in, bullet header. And I think that lifts his confidence, and I overall think that this will do him very, very good. That scoring that goal will definitely do him very good. I think it will lift his confidence, because with the injuries, with the slow starts, with the certain issues he has had, and the fact that he's just generally having just few games in the team overall, I think this will do very much for him in that regard. And it was a bit worrying when he tried to do Jean-Claude Van Damme karate kung fu kick, and he fell on his shoulder and he started to grabbing him and it was hurting. That was a bit worrying. But overall, he actually after that goal had a very decent game. I'm not gonna lie. He had some decent passes. He had some decent distribution. Same goes for Rice. Rice was playing some long balls today, which he usually doesn't do at Arsenal, which he hasn't done in quite some time overall. So that was actually very, very nice to see. Partey and White played brilliant. Yeah, that is the case. Partey and White also. Partey at right back against Diaz actually was very good. He was actually very, very good. Credit where credit is due. He actually did very great. He didn't get caught out. He didn't get put on his ass. He didn't get caught out by pace and everything. His positioning and tackling was actually very good. Obviously, having Saka there also helped, because Saka he trucks back. I think if there was Jesus or Sterling, more likely than not, it would be a bit different story. But Partey in that regard was actually very, very decent. Very, very decent. I just hope Arteta he could use this as a blueprint overall. It would be very, very good. Partey inverted well into... Yeah, that's the thing. We inverted from... But the thing is, with Arsenal, if we get the right players, we can invert from both sides. If the right players are injury free, are durable and not in the hospital pretty much, we can invert pretty much from both sides, and that is very, very good, and that's something I like really much. Because if we invert only from one side, it's very predictable. I like the fact that we can invert from one side, overlap from the other. We can invert from both sides. We can overlap from other sides if everyone's fit. Let me put that disclaimer: if everyone's fit. That's something I like. I just wish we could see it consistently, and that means without injuries. Because I think if we start to see, for example, Timber and White partnership on both wing back sides for like 5 to 10 games in a row with Gabriel and Saliba in the middle, I think that would be actually very decent for Arsenal in that regard. Looking at the results so far, what are your expectations for this season? It all depends. That is the big thing. It all depends now. How long Gabriel will be out? Because at the moment, if Gabriel is out for extended period of time, we will have to live with a center-back partnership of Saliba and Kivior, because Calafiori won't be back till after the international break. Obviously, it's only 4 or 5 games, yet at the same time, it's games against Newcastle, it's game against Chelsea, and game against Inter. It could be a bit detrimental for our season, but if we can manage to stay fit, imburst the team with some signings in January, I would say at the moment top 4 is more or less a guarantee, unless wheels completely fall off from Arsenal. I'm not gonna talk about title race because the title race pretty much starts in February, March, obviously. I think if we manage to be in that top 3 spot and be there or thereabouts, about 3 points, one win, I think, or one win and a draw away from the first place, we could start talk about these things, because at the moment there is some still quite a bit of question marks left, if that makes any sense, because today again we saw from Mikel Arteta the same issues he has had over the season and over the previous years. Very he's not proactive, he's very reactive with the subs, late subs and everything. Game management, how he manages things and everything, it's still the same issues, and that is the big thing. And also obviously injuries and bench will kind of dictate that. We need the personnel to invert to our full. We need overall proper players who can do their proper things, and we have those players, I would say, in about almost all the positions we should need. The thing is though, we don't have backups for those positions. And that, I think, will be the biggest issue for Arsenal this season. They will struggle for consistency due to lack of backups. Because we can have these players, we can have Saka, Odegaard, Gabriel, we can have Timber, we can have White, Calafiori, but if they are not available due to red cards, injuries and all that stuff, our backups is a massive fall from grace if you look at it, if we need to replace the starting 11 players. And that for me is the big thing. We need personnel to invert, and we have the main guys, the backup guys is the biggest issue. And yeah, I said before that Martinelli would miss Calafiori on the overlap. To be honest, he can Timber. Calafiori and Timber, they both can play there. The thing is, against Liverpool, it's a bit different. We cannot afford in a week. We went for it, but pushing up it was a bit iffy at times because of Salah, obviously, and everything. But yeah, Martinelli, it's not anymore as much as missing Calafiori, missing Xhaka, missing a proper left back. It's now starting to look like more and more than like a confidence issue, because he got shoved off the ball physically two times early in the first half by Konate when he cooked Trent, and since that moment he never recovered. When he saw Konate looking at him, it felt like he had doubt in his mind. It looked like he lost even more confidence and he lost the possession. He instantly stopped, passed it back. And I think that really damaged him as well. I think that definitely damaged him, because Martinelli cooked Trent when he wanted to. The biggest issue was Konate, and I think Konate really little broke him massively this game. Just do back we are not gonna do back three. I don't think Arteta is gonna do that. I don't believe Arteta is gonna do that. Obviously, it would be nice to see a different type of formation drop in, like a spanner in the works in general for opposing team, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Timber's not as effective as Skull going forward. Timber defensively is much more solid. I would say that, at the moment at least, definitely. Timber's best trait is the fact that he can carry the ball and he can actually do certain dribble with the ball quite decently. Calafiori doesn't excels at that, but not as much. The Calafiori's strength is the fact that he can do in attacking front. He's more versatile when he kind of inverts and pushes up ahead compared to Timber. Timber defensively is kind of more solid. On the left, yeah. Konate is Martinelli's nemesis. Yeah, I think that definitely is the case, and I think that's why Martinelli today as well was a bit shaky. Pretty much, yeah, because he was the issue, because whenever Trent got cooked, Konate was there. And whenever Martinelli came up against Trent, 95% of the time, Konate came out as a winner. And I think Martinelli really got damaged that confidence-wise. His confidence already is damaged in general, due to injuries at times, lack of playtime, missing chances, missing opportunities in general. And now when you play against defenders who kind of get the best of you, it even damages your confidence even more. As even you may think you have recovered, but you really haven't. We can't go to San Siro with Kivior in chain. Dude, it could be the case. Obviously, we don't know how much of an issue is the Gabriel injury. But our left-sided center back at the moment only option is Kivior, unless we play a right-footed center back there, for example. Kivior is the only option at the moment. And we all saw today, one over the top ball, Kivior runs into Narnia. It feels like his connection on FIFA disconnects for a second and he just stopped. And he's like, where am I? And then he started to track back. That one over the top ball really screwed him up. Yeah, Timber on the right together with Saka. To be honest, Bukayo Saka with Timber on the right looks much more confident and dangerous than Saka with White. And to be honest, I really want to see on consistent base for some games right side of Timber, Saka and Odegaard when Odegaard comes back. Because Saka already without Odegaard with Timber looks much more comfortable on that side. We have seen it before. So if you add Odegaard into the mix, it actually could unlock some, as Mikel Arteta likes to say, another level of our attack. It could unlock potentially in that regard. Kiwi is not ripe, definitely. It's not ripe. It's not even grown yet. You maybe see a small blossom there, but the fruit is still in the womb, definitely. The thing is, when our defensive line at the end of the game was looking like this, and that is a bit worrying. I'm not gonna lie. Partey, White, Kiwior, Lewis, Skelly. They did great, don't get me wrong, they did actually very good. One lapse of concentration by Kiwior and we conceded, obviously. It's Mohamed Salah, what can you expect and all that stuff, obviously. But that defensive line, if we have to play this, if you think about this long term, it's not sustainable whatsoever. It's asking for more trouble than good. Because Kiwior, let's be real, when we signed Kiwior, we got PR'd that he has beaten Theo Walcott's sprint records and stuff like that. Yet on the pitch, he looks like Granit Xhaka when he sprints. First of all, Lewis Skelly needs experience. Partey is like a granddad who has some legs, but if he gets cooked, you most likely he's gonna get cooked. And Ben White, we saw him at center back when he just joined. He's much better at right back. So this defensive line, if we had to use it for more games, is asking for trouble. Let's be real. It is asking for trouble, especially when you play against some very tricky, very quick-paced, very smart attackers, especially. It is asking for trouble at that regard. But yeah, Premier League table at the moment is not looking that bad, if you ask me. It's actually not looking that bad. One assist from White, not trying to pass. Exactly. One ball over the top, something Liverpool tried to do for a big chunk of the game, and for Arsenal, it worked first time. Over the top ball, Saka gets the ball, drops a shoulder on Robertson, sends him back to Scotland or Hull City, wherever, and just smacks it with his left foot near corner. Brilliant pass, brilliant goal. That was fantastic. Why we are not doing this more often is still big of a question, because remember the goal we scored? I don't now remember who against it was. It was Raya kicked it long. Saka jumped for the ball. It bounced off defender's back, and the ball went to Havertz, who went out one-on-one and just chipped the keeper. I think it was Brighton. It came off Dunk's head. I think it was back or something like that. Or Dunk's back, and it went like that. One long ball, one bounce, and we are in. We have seen this Arsenal doing this on occasion, and it has worked. Why we don't use it at times more often, especially since we have 6'4" Donkey up front, is still a big question at times. Because at the moment, the way he played, at least today, maybe that was the only thing he was good at. Because today he was absolutely beyond shocking. Beyond shocking he was today. He should be dropped for the next game. Obviously, the next game is against Preston, so he definitely should hold the bench against that. We should be winning without him against Preston. Obviously, it's an away game, so definitely I'm expecting a tough game no matter what. But overall, yeah. But I must say still, this game is leaving a sour taste in my mouth. Because Liverpool were there for the taking. In the first half, we showed everything we can that we are going for it, and we will do this. And in the second half, we saw complete straight opposite from that. We didn't do it. We just sat back and tried to hit them on counters when we should have been pushing for the win. I wouldn't mind that if it was at Anfield per se, but since we were at the Emirates, it is a bit disappointing to say the least. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, but to be honest, I must give Arteta credit where credit is due on certain level, because after the loss to Bournemouth, he said, "Don't worry, we will be flying on Sunday," and we did that in first half. Obviously, in the first half only, but we did that. We were flying actually. Arteta kept his promise. Where did it go in the second half? I have no idea, but hey ho, it is what it is. Obviously, a lot of this injury problem comes back to Tomiyasu. To be honest, quite all the injury issues come back to quite a bit of things, quite a bit of players to say the least. That is the case. Who is quicker, Mertesacker or Kivior? Okay, let's not go to extremes. The thing is though, Mertesacker, right? As slow as he was a very, very good defender. He knew that he doesn't have the pace, yet he had the footballing IQ, defensively especially, to position himself in a way the defender always struggled to get past him. Yes, he looked like, I don't know, a lanky giraffe running on the pitch. Yes, he looked like he's gonna fall over every time he touched the ball. Yet at the same time, most of the time he was in the right positions to win a header, to put in a tackle and everything. Remember when he was out the whole season and then we had to play FA Cup final against Chelsea? He came in for that one game and he was pretty much man of the match. Chelsea had no answer for him when in attacking wise when he was playing at centre back. No answer. He was our defensive leader that game without playing nearly whole season. That just shows how good he was. Yeah, Mertesacker has a defensive football brand. He has that. And he showed it many times. The big thing is his pace wasn't the case. The pace didn't show it. But it is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. But defensively, he definitely was good. But overall, if we look at the table at the moment, Arsenal are sitting third. We have played pretty much a quarter of a season, 25% of the season already, as fast as the season is going. We are third on the same points as Aston Villa. We are ahead of him due only to the goal difference, obviously, at the moment. Man City are first, Liverpool are second, Arsenal are third. The big thing is, if we had won the game, we would be third still, but we would be only 3 points behind City and 1 point behind Liverpool. That would have been a much, much more pleasant view to look at the moment, because they were there for the taking, and that's what's pissing me off at the moment. I think I'm gonna bang this drum until it breaks, pretty much. But the big issue with this is though, Aston Villa are on the same points. Chelsea are only 1 point behind us, and we have to play Chelsea at the Bridge in 2 weeks. And we remember how last year we played against Chelsea at the Bridge. They pretty much played the perfect game. One lapse by Sanchez, Declan Rice scores from about 35-40 yards out, and then one cross and Trossard finishes the chance and it's 2-2. But until that point, we did nothing in the game. And that's what's scary. Will we have learned from the mistakes when we play Chelsea in 2 weeks? Obviously, different manager, different players, more or less. Different style, definitely. And it will be very interesting how Arsenal fare against Chelsea in that regard. But the thing is, we are closer to, and as weird as it sounds, by the way, we are closer to the 7th spot than we are to the 1st at the moment. Obviously, early stages of the season, but we are 5 points behind City, yet we are only 2 points ahead of 7th place. As wild as it sounds at the moment. Yes, only 9 games, but if you look at it in that retrospect, it is a bit worrying. Newcastle, we play next week away at St. James Park, always a tough place to go. But Newcastle are not in the best of forms. That is what could be going for us in that regard. Obviously, we don't know what defensive line we will put out at the moment because we have no idea how serious is Gabriel's injury. Arteta will conduct an interview. Tomorrow will some news break out. We're going to talk about it then. But Gabriel is out for not... We don't know how long, obviously. What's its face? Timber... If it's only cramp, all good, all fine. If it's not, then it is what it is. But yeah, we play Preston. When do we play Preston, by the way? Is it Tuesday or is it Wednesday? I think it was Tuesday, right? We play Preston on Wednesday. Preston on Wednesday, 7:45 late game. We play away. The question is, what kind of team will we put out? Well, we play on Sunday, so Tuesday, we play Wednesday, 2 days off, and we play Saturday. So we basically play 3 games in span of 6 days. 2 days off, we play a game. 2 days off, we play a game. Against Preston, I am expecting rotation. We're going to talk about this on Tuesday, obviously. But I'm expecting rotation. I'm expecting some results. Still, no matter what. But one thing I want to touch upon, no Diddy and all that stuff. One thing I want to touch upon, right, is the fact that I'm not using this as an excuse. Obviously, goals in the 7th August to score 50 goals. Not bad, not bad. One thing I wanted to talk about was the refereeing in today's game. Refereeing in today's game. I tend to call out refs. I tend to not to use it as an excuse for Arsenal's wins, losses, and everything. But referee today was shocking, I'm not gonna lie. And to be honest, it has been quite of a common predominator in today's games overall. Because Van de Ven got a yellow in the similar tackle that Saliba did, only didn't get the red. And everything, some penalties not given, some penalties given, which could not be a pen, although it is, it's a 50-50. The ref today was utterly shocking, I'm not gonna lie. I meant to say Mbeumo is ready. Look at his penalty and goal yesterday. You can exactly. I think Mbeumo for Arsenal would be perfect, especially since he doesn't need to start. He would be Bukayo Saka's replacement as a backup. He definitely could rotate. We play enough games during a season where he would get starts, quite consistent starts as well in the cups. I would say he would actually start in certain Premier League games. I know Saka is undroppable, but to try and preserve him, save him, try to avoid injuries, I think Mbeumo actually would be fantastic. Given the way he plays with the directness, skills, shooting, everything he has, good cross, he actually would be quite perfect. He would be perfect. I would assume he would cost about 40-50 million for Arsenal, of course. Yet at the same time, it could work. It could be the case. Yeah, exactly. He can play as a number 9/striker as well. So we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's similar like we signed Kudus, for example. He can be a backup for Saka and play in Odegaard's position. So we have those 2. Technically, we can even push maybe Odegaard in an 8 and play Kudus as a number 10. We can play Kudus in a 9 if we want to as well. So definitely, there are certain players we can play in numerous positions. Let's just say it that way. The fouls he gave in the first half, he stopped giving the second. You see, they want to make the game more entertaining, but it was the fouls that he was giving and not giving really was bothering me, because it was same tackle about 3-4 times, and on some level it is a foul, sometimes it isn't a foul, so there is no middle ground. He didn't give us 2 corners, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Two corners, I think it was. One in the first, one in the second half, or 2 in the second half. He didn't give us corners. He didn't see that. I have no idea why he stopped the game while the attack was going as well. Remember when we scored a goal, Jesus just scored a goal? Technically, isn't it according to the rules, the game needs to see itself out before the foul is called or something like that? And it was a very soft call that he gave on Kivior when he just rushed in and headed the ball. I think it was a very, very soft call. Because if that call isn't taken, we win the game. It's 3-1 Arsenal at the time still. It wasn't even 3-2. It wasn't even 2-2 at the time. So the ref was very, very shocking. Definitely. It also was... there were times when obviously everyone likes to moan about this, but there were times when they kicked the ball away and they didn't get a yellow. I'm not using this as an excuse, but it's just pissing me off that every single week same things happen, and every single time we get different results. We get copy-paste scenarios every week in situations on the pitch, yet we get different refereeing decisions every single time, pretty much. And this, I'm not talking about Arsenal, I'm talking about the whole Premier League. I'm talking about different games, seeing same scenarios, just seeing different outcomes. Yet their motto is to be consistent and all that stuff, yet there is less consistency than there ever was before. It also takes about 65 minutes to view one VAR decision. Why they are still arguably in the most expensive league in the world, let's just say it that way, How comes there is no semi-automated offside traps, offside decision systems like in World Cup, in Euros, in everything with the 3D offsides in Champions League? Also, it's beyond the joke to me. Apparently, there are not enough cameras to put on certain places to actually do that. So adjust the stadiums then, do something like that. How comes we make VR decisions based on some lines we draw in MS Paint and everything? We don't even see a straight angle like camera is aligned with the players. We have to look at, let's just say, a 35-degree angle from the camera, and then we technically have to rotate the image and everything. It's also beyond the joke, to be honest. Like, you can see, maybe you can draw the line by the way the grass is cut sometimes. You can see when it's cut, you can see the straight lines, right? But it never is. You can see the line is going in like from a narrow angle to a wider angle. It's never straight as well. It's very weird to be to be the most expensive league in the world in terms of money deals, to the most money being flown around and thrown around, yet you cannot make the simplest things work. That's how bad it is. That's what's really pissing me off. I feel like they were doing their utmost to secure. Pretty much, it felt that way at times. I'm not saying it was, but it felt at times with the decisions and certain instances, definitely. That Nunez hip bump on Saka, how it's... Exactly, genuinely, Nunez just runs through the back of our player and referee says nothing. Pretty much says nothing. Like, how is that a thing? Like, how is that even a thing these days? It's beyond a joke. It's genuinely beyond a joke. Let's see what else is happening here. What else is happening here? Arsenal point shared at in North London. Yeah, 2-2. Probably should have won the game. 50 Premier League goals for Bukayo Saka. Good dot. Arsenal. The last time Arsenal lost a Premier League game against the Big Six side was April 2023. Not a bad stat. I'm not gonna lie. Not a bad stat overall. What else is there? Seriously, one of the guys in the VR room for this Arsenal-Liverpool game has FPL up on his phone. Holy crap, you can actually see it. Holy... No wonder some decisions go in interesting ways. That is actually kind of wild if you ask me. That is actually an insane image, to be honest. If I speak, I'm in big troubles. Pretty much, yeah, definitely, pretty much. Yeah, FPL open. Oh my goodness gracious. Bukayo Saka in the Premier League this season. Most chances created, most big chances created, most assists. 12 assists this season. No way. Wait. Let's check this. Bukayo Saka. Does he really have 12 assists? No, he hasn't. What the hell is... Oh, it's maybe a year. No, it's not. 7 assists this season in Premier League. 3 goals, 7 assists in 8 games. Saka is actually on a mad one. By the way, I saw something today. Remember, Bukayo Saka is on 7 assists. Nuno Tavares at Lazio is also on 7 assists. By the way. He equaled Saka today for Lazio in 3-0 win against Genoa. Our own Nuno Tavares, who's on loan with option to buy at Lazio, has the same amount of assists as our Bukayo Saka. How wild is that? Nuno Tavares has the same amount of assists as Bukayo Saka. I was hoping that VR had Palmer in their teams like I did earlier today. Where they were reviewing that pen. I mean, ooh. But yeah, Arsenal's schedule is not looking that great, is it? Wait. I want to see this. Any news on Gabriel? On Gabriel. Like he's Magalhaes. Gabriel Magal leaving the pitch with a knee injury, obviously. Magalhaes. Is he injured and for how long? That for me is the big question. Anthony Taylor-Burn, yeah. He's a United fan, isn't it though? November is Hellman for... Yeah, I think so. I think November is the rough... October already is rough. November is the big one, yeah. Newcastle away, Inter away, Chelsea away. Forest at home, 100% it will be a super hard game. Telling you that now. Sporting away. Last time we played Sporting and in general against Portuguese teams, for us it's hell enough. And then we play West Ham away. Last year against West Ham, we were doing fantastically well, if you recall. And all that stuff. And we don't know even if Lopetegui will be at West Ham, by the way, by that time. Although today they beat Manchester United, lol. That was a nice one. Can we please sim that Sporting game? To be honest, I can see that Sporting game being a nap time setting game until halftime and then until full time. It could be a very rough game. It will be a very rough game. Especially since we play against Gyökeres. It could be a very nice audition for Gyökeres to sign for Arsenal, given how he plays on what he does and what he doesn't. It will be very interesting to see what Gyökeres does against Arsenal, because we all want Gyökeres, let's be real. Well, maybe not all. I would say about 80 to 90% of Arsenal's fan base want a striker, and the striker most of them have at the top of the list is Victor Gyökeres. And we play against them in 3 weeks, basically in a month, a bit less than a month. It will be very interesting to see how Gyökeres, by the way, is doing in Liga NOS and all them things. Rather than check, to be honest. Let's see, Victor Gyökeres, 9 games, 12 goals, 1 assist in Portuguese League, 3 games, 2 goals in Champions League. On fire. Latest news, Arda Güler to Liverpool or Arsenal? Really sucks. Holy crap. But yeah, Gyökeres will be a very interesting one at Arsenal when we play them. It will be a very, very interesting to see how Arsenal fare with that. Because if everything is in place and we are not injured, potentially for that game, which is played on November 26th, we could have our best team available. If we manage to get everyone back from injuries, there are no injury concerns, we could actually have our best team out there, because Odegaard should be back. Gabriel, I hope it's not a long-term injury. If Gabriel is okay, we could actually have even Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Partey, Rice, Merino, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Havertz, pick your poison. We could actually have for that game, if everything goes well, our best starting 11 available. That actually could be quite nuts. I don't know this. Wait, I wanted to check this for the longest time. Champions League cup-tied players. Champions League cup-tied rule abolished. What the hell? That was 6 years ago. UEFA on Tuesday had decided to remove the cup-tied rule from all European competitions. This means that a lot for the first time the player could play for 2 different clubs in the group stage and the knockout rounds in the Champions League, Europa League. That was in 2018. If nothing has changed, there is a possibility that it could happen. Wait. Here it is. February 2024, so this year. The UEFA Champions League round of 16 contenders have confirmed their squad changes for the knockout stage. UEFA blah blah blah, Josephine, with the deadline now passed, launch from... So, remember, no players are cup-tied anymore, regardless of what competition they may have been involved in during the group stages. So technically that means that if we sign Gyökeres in January, he actually can play for Arsenal, if that is the case. No players are cup-tied anymore, regardless of what competition they may have been involved in during the group stage. Interesting. Interesting. So that means that if we sign Gyökeres, we actually could be playing him also in Champions League in January. That's actually kind of nice. Can January signings play in the champion? Just to the maximum 3 new players, cup-side rules. Yeah, it looks that way. So that is actually pretty darn good news for Arsenal if that is the case. Because if Gyökeres signs, it's actually good. Yeah, oh wow. To be honest, I was shocked myself because in Premier League it's not the case. We have signed a cup-side goalkeeper for Carabao Cup, which means Raya or Setford will play again. Who you want to see against Preston? Setford or Raya? Who will play against them? I would assume David Raya most likely. I don't think we will go against Preston away with a 16-year-old goalkeeper. That would be my guess. Well, 21-year-old goalkeeper in Setford. He's 18, I think, even. I don't think we will do that. I think we will play our best goalkeeper, because next game for us is against Preston. So I would assume at least that we will play our best player, no? Best goalkeeper in that instance. If we look at the stats, by the way, 9 shots for both teams, 3 on target for Arsenal, 4 on target for Arsenal. Possession is useless, passes are useless since Arsenal's set back. Pass accuracy, okay. Fouls, 14-14. Yellows, 2-2. To be honest, based on these stats, it should be a 2-2 draw. Based on these solely stats, it should be a 2-2 draw. The issue is, if we look in that it was a story, the game was of 2 separate halves. And if it was only based on first half, Arsenal should have won the game. If it was in the second half, Liverpool scored the goal, so they deserved it. So technically a draw is deserved. But if we maybe try to play in the second half as we did in the first, it will be a completely different story. By the way, that defending on the corner was shambolic, by the way. That defending on the corner was shambolic. Our subs, Nichols, Netos, interestingly enough, Sterling didn't come on. Jorginho hasn't seen a pitch for the longest time, hasn't he? I think Jorginho hasn't played for quite some time. He has been out of action for a bit, if I'm not mistaken, no? He has played 2 games in Premier League, 1 in the Carabao Cup in full 90, and 2 in Champions League on 34 minutes overall, yeah. He played in a 0-0 draw, 32 minutes, 2 minutes against Shakhtar. He played full 90 against Spurs. He played 61 against Southampton. And he played a full 90 against Bolton. To be honest, Jorginho is gonna play. Jorginho is about to play against Preston. He 100% is going to play against Preston. Because he hasn't played in 4 games now. 1, 2, well, Southampton, so 2 games. Yeah, he hasn't played, to be honest, for the longest time. Hasn't played for the longest time. Big up, coach. Big up. Big up. Jorginho definitely is going to play against Preston. I haven't seen him for quite a while. That's mal. But our bench, if you look at it, as good, as decent as certain positions are, it's actually quite scary, I'm not gonna lie. I'm already stressed for January if we don't... To be honest, based on our past experience in January transfer window, I wouldn't put my money on it if we're gonna sign anyone. Wouldn't put too much money on it, because we should, obviously, we should be signing someone in January to improve the team. Will we? It's a completely different story, because let's be real, the way it went, it wasn't great in previous years. We have signed one massive player in January in the recent years, which was Aubameyang, but only because we let Sanchez go. We have signed a decent player in Trossard, but only because Mudryk deal fell through. But besides that, we only have signed backup dancers in our team and partially wasting only our money in signing players like Kivior. So it's not a great look. It's already a bit stressful. Happy with the game today. Good performance. First half, yeah. Second half, it was left desired much more for me. This game overall leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I'm not talking about Gabriel's injury, and Timber's subbing off, which partially ruined the game just because he just came back. I'm not putting it on Timber or Gabriel, but the injuries really kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth in general for the outcome. Yeah, see, overall, yeah, you said you're overall happy. I am. I'm happy we didn't lose. I'm just put it that way. I'm not happy that we didn't get more. Because based on what we saw in the first half, we should have gotten more out of the game. For me, at least. That's my opinion. Based on what we did in the first half, and why in the second half we decided just to park the bus and play on counters, it is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. Cannot judge it too much. I just wish that at Emirates we actually went for it. I was hoping we go for it, and we did in the first half. In the second half, not so much. That's what's pissing me off. But anyhow, I think on that note, I'm gonna end it here. If you're new around here, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, all that stuff, trying to hit 300 before the year ends. You have been freaking fantastic. Thank you guys for dropping by. Big up Nathan, Pepper, Coach, and rest of you guys. You have been phenomenal. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy tomorrow. On Wednesday, we play against Preston, see how that goes. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to talk about a few more transfer links. We're going to talk about, obviously, player ratings and stuff like that. We're going to take a discussion over the game. But yeah, for today, that will be it. You have been fantastic. And Arsenal drew today, 2-2. Interesting. But yeah, take care, stay safe, and see you all tomorrow. Peace.